Hey there, Girl Campers, and welcome back to the Girl Camper podcast, where we believe there is no wrong way to camp like a girl. I'm your co-host, Lesa McDermott, and in today's episode, we are kicking off a special three-part series all about buying a brand new RV. My conversation with Mike Harlan, the general manager at North Trail RV Center in Fort Myers, Florida, was so good and so full of practical advice that we decided to split it into three episodes to make it easier to digest. In this first episode, Mike and I are going to dig into the biggest mistakes first-time buyers make, what kind of research you should do at home before you even step onto a dealer lot, why understanding your tow vehicle and tongue weight matters, and how to compare RV floor plans so you don't regret your choice later. So if you've been dreaming of a new RV, grab your notebook because this episode is packed with insider tips you're not going to want to miss. Stay tuned.
Hey, RVers! Any way you explore, explore protected. With Progressive, a leader in RV insurance. They make it easy to quote, and the process takes as little as 4 minutes. Get a quote now. Insure your passion.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Girl Camper podcast. I am so excited to have Mike Harlan back on, who is from North Trail RV. He is, now Mike, correct me, are you the largest Airstream dealer down in Florida?
In Florida, it's gone back and forth between us and someone else. Space-wise, yes, but we've been number one. We've been number two and number three, but typically we end up one of those three spots every year.
It's a beautiful dealership. We were down there, Janine and I, last January for the Fort Myers RV show, and really enjoyed stepping in and seeing it. But we're going to be talking about what are questions that anybody that is in the market to buy a new RV that they should be asking. And Mike is here to help go over all that. So welcome, Mike. Thanks for coming back on.
Thank you so much. I always enjoy being here with you.
As I mentioned, Mike, you are the general manager of Northland Trail RV, but you have a long history in the RV industry, right?
I do. It goes back to about 84, 83 or 84. And I was a camper before that. My dad ran a manufactured housing company, so it's always fascinated me.
Yeah. And you, I think, hosted one of our very first camper colleges back in the day.
I did, in beautiful Columbus, Ohio.
And we're hoping to do another one with you guys here in the next few months down in Fort Myers. So ladies, stay tuned for more information on that. But let's set the scene here about buying a new RV. And let's talk about what some of the common mistakes are that people have. Mike, from your perspective, what is the most common mistake a first-time RVer makes?
Not being aware of what they really want for long term. That's probably your biggest mistake that people make. They go in thinking that they're going to be using it. You know, everybody thinks that they want to use it every weekend.
Mm-hmm.
That's not real. If it was real, RV trailer insurance would be as high as car insurance, and it's not. It's used in addendum to the car insurance because a good risk manager says, you know, a travel trailer is used 4.8 times a year. So it's priced as such. So don't think of it that you're going to be in it every weekend. Don't think that. The second biggest mistake that people make when they come onto a dealer's lot is telling them what they want a monthly payment to be.
Oh,
Because there are dealers that would run with your money. I'm not going to pay over $450 a month. Well, what you're buying, you might have been able to get for $300 a month, but you're buying it at $450 a month. So don't tell them that until you're way into it and you've already the payment isn't what you should be looking for. What the actual price is that you're going to be paying. And don't let them know you're paying cash or financing, because to the dealer, it's the same. People say, I'm paying cash. You know what? The dealer doesn't make any finance reserve on somebody paying cash. So they do make a little bit of money from the bank when they do the bank paperwork for you. So, don't just divulge that information right away.
Interesting. And I want to come back to that in a little bit on both of those subjects. But I want to kind of stick with buyer prep before, for lack of a better term, before, when they are coming to the thing. What's some of the research too that they should do at home before they ever come? Like what they're looking for, and then also if they're looking at a travel trailer or a fifth wheel, their tow vehicles.
Okay, so you've got a wide range there, and I'm going to try to what they're looking for. Let's start with what they're looking for in a manufacturer.
Mm.
How decent is your manufacturer that you're looking to buy? Is it there's a big funny saying in the RV business. It's not research and development, it's research and copy. Okay, whose floor plans sell the best? Let's copy those. We can do that. Let's copy those. And is that copy as good as the original? If you've ever seen Multiplicity, you know what I'm talking about. You got, the third and fourth copy, you're down to something that doesn't even recognize what the first was.
Mm.
But find a stable manufacturer. Look at what the warranty period is. If it's warranted for a year, you're going to use it 4.9 times a year. Next season, you may not have a warranty anymore. Look at that warranty period. If manufacturer A and manufacturer B are the same price, and I hate the industry for this because there's so much cloning in our industry, floor plans, but manufacturer A builds the same thing on the same line, but manufacturer A is the 24-month warranty, and their same brand is manufacturer B. It's under a different name, and it only has a 12-month warranty. Don't think it's just price. It could be cost of goods in it. It could be a lesser of a water heater. It could be lesser of an air conditioner. It could have Chinese tires on it as opposed to American-made tires on it. So those things make a lot of differences in the pricing and your long-term happiness. You need to find a manufacturer that you can count on and rely on, not just in your hometown, but across the country.
That's a good point, because we see a lot of manufacturers, and from my perspective, in the smaller travel trailer, especially in the overlanding area, that are now popping up. Yep. And it's kind of like an e-bike. Is that e-bike company going to be here in a year or 2 or 3? Right. Same with the RV manufacturer. How long have they been in business?
Right. Look at your own great one of your sponsors or so, but Newcoat. I mean, look at what Newcoat has done to the industry, and look at how many copies there is of Newcoat.
Yeah.
How many copies of the tag and tag are out there? It's ridiculous. It looks the same, but it's cheap. I'm not saying that's not someone's pinnacle. That's the best thing that they can buy. Don't get me wrong, but make sure your manufacturer is solid. Make sure that they are financially secure. Some of the mid-range RV manufacturers, even today, are debt-free companies. Okay, think of that for a minute. Even some of the mediocre are debt-free companies, and some of the highest manufacturers are in debt. They're barely swimming. Okay, so keep that in mind. and look at what that manufacturer has been through. Have they been through a rough time before and made it through? Because we're in a rough time right now. We're not in the best times of RV business. But, I say every day we got a chance to make today the best time.
When you said a stat on a previous episode that we did that blew my mind, that that RV sales between 2021 and 2023, that if you took, now how am I going to say that? That those 3 years outperformed the previous 14 years of RV sales combined.
That's correct. It's astonishing. And that's a bad time, Lisa. That's a bad time for our industry because manufacturers were using parts that they never designed to use in that coach, but that's all they could get.
Right.
Supply chain was new and they were trying to keep people working. So, maybe your owner's manual says you have this suburban water heater and you may have a domestic water heater. You don't even know. Anything they could get, they were throwing in there because the buying was curious.
Mm-hmm.
They were flying again. I want to travel. I want to see our great country. I never want to fly overstate. Okay. Probably the worst time in the world to buy, but okay. Those 3 years have a joke with dealers. It must be a COVID trailer. And you look and people were paying sticker price for a trailer in those days. And those poor people are still in those trailers and can't get out of them.
Yeah.
Because of that period of time where the manufacturers were just throwing anything and everything together as they could. Sometimes the name on the right side didn't match the name on the left side.
I remember being in Elkhart, Indiana, where I think 80% of the RV manufacturers are located during that time. And it was unbelievable the number of RVs that were sitting in pastures and back lots just waiting for, a part to come in so that it could get shipped out, so it was definitely a different time.
That part everywhere. You can't get it. And then that part that normally would be a $4 widget costs $29.
Yeah.
So just time.
Let's talk about tow vehicles. That is such an important area for people to understand before they go shopping for, an RV.
There's some very valuable things that you need to know about tow vehicles. First one I'd say is just because it can tow 10,000 pounds doesn't mean it's going to be comfortable doing it.
Yeah.
Just because it can tow 10,000 pounds doesn't mean that you need to take it to the limit. You want to enjoy your drive. You don't want to white knuckle it the whole way. A good rule of thumb is about 75% of its capacity. But one thing, Lisa, that a lot of people ignore, believe it or not ignore, is you may have a 10,000 pound tow capacity on your vehicle, but it may only have a 500 pound ton weight maximum. So ton weight is based upon how that hitch is attached to that frame, how strong the welds are on that hitch. And again, just because you can buy a hitch for $250, does that mean that the $500 hitch is bad because it's too expensive? Maybe that $500 hitch is made with all American steel. Maybe it's made with a thicker grade of steel. Maybe that hitch can take 1,200 pounds of ton weight. Do not ignore the ton weight rating of your trailer. That is the biggest mistake a lot of people make, is that ton weight rating. Don't play with it. If it says that it can handle 750 pounds, don't try 900 pounds. The people behind you will hate you.
Yeah, ton weight, I think, is something that a lot of people don't consider, and it's also that it makes a difference. Does your tow vehicle, did it come with a tow package already installed, or are you trying to install one after the market? may not have all of the bells and whistles that a towing package really should have, like, an additional cooler and stuff, things like that.
Right.
So,
Correct. A lot of people ignore some of those things. Just because you have a big truck doesn't mean that it's equipped to tow something uphill. You touched on a very good point. Yeah, I got this truck. I'm going to put a hitch on it. Well, that means that, it didn't come with a factory tow package. That's not just a hitch. That's a transmission cooler. That is going from a 90 amp or an 80 amp alternator to 130 or 140 amp alternator to keep all of that power, to manage that electric that it takes for that extra load. Transmission cooler, an auxiliary cooler, those things, a tow package is all those things, as well as the most important, a brake control.
yes.
Brake controls are lifesavers. Most states require anything over 2,000 pounds to have electric brakes or some type of brakes on them, either
Yep.
surf brakes or electric brakes.
Yep. Very good point. So once you've done your homework and you're ready to look in person at an RV, then it's time to think about what you really need in an RV. So when comparing RV floor plans, what key factors should buyers prioritize over the nice to have features?
The first thing I would do, considering floor plans, let's say it's a family of 4. Let's go on a very hot day. And let's stay inside that thing for an hour. And let's see how much we get along, or how good we get along in that hour, because you're going to be on a very hot day somewhere and there's going to be a storm and you can't get outside and do anything. You better love the people that you're with. Use that for a guide on your floor plan. Is there a space besides the sleeping space to lounge? If you're getting a bunk model, there are some really good ideas in bunk models today that are not just bed. There's bunks with a work desk. And
Yeah.
there's the
The little
corner
TV
box.
rooms that are in there. Yeah.
So you have 2 areas of lounging and relaxation. So the kids and the parents both can have their serenity, whether it's being on a virtual reality game or reading a book, having a savory snack. So, you need to have that in mind, not just can it sleep this many, but what's it going to be like on a rainy day? What's it going to be like if we can't get outside for a while? Also, keep in mind, some people like to use an oven in a travel trailer or an RV. Some people do not. Some people don't even want the oven. They would rather have a convection oven.
Or nothing at all.
Convection microwave.
Yeah.
So, I made a joke earlier. Some people don't ever use an oven. They just use it for storage. So think of those things. Think if you want 1 or 2 air conditioners. If you have 2 air conditioners, you're going to have 50 amp service. Does your favorite campground have 30 and 50 amp service on every line? Keep those things in mind, and the maintenance. Are you able to do any of the maintenance yourself? If you look at some of these travel trailers coming out, they have a 10, 12, or 15-year roof warranty, but you have to document that you've had the maintenance done. You've had the cleaner put on there. You've had the spray put on there that actually acts like saddle soap for a saddle or sunblock for a human. Keeps it pliable. It keeps it from cracking. Those things, if you read your warranty, those things are listed in there that you have to maintenance those things. It's not just, it's up there and forget about it. Even though you can't see it, you forget about it sometimes. But read your owner's manual, you have to visually inspect it, and you have to clean it with either a rubber roof or TPO vinyl cleaner. And you have to treat that to keep it pliable and not sun cracked.
Good
So
information.
can I maintain this thing myself?
Mm-hmm.
That's a very good point. Can I maintain this myself? Other than major service, other than a broken axle or something, can I maintain the stuff? What kind of siding? Is it aluminum sided? Is it fiberglass sided? And what does that mean? What does that mean? Does it need just washed? Does it just need the debris taken off? Is it full body paint? Full body paint is going to be the easiest, but it's going to be the most expensive.
Hmm.
So these are things that you should consider so you're not hating this purchase later down the road.
Well, and I think RV owners, I would really encourage, to check into some of the online trainings that are out there. The NRVTIA, I know, has an online little training course that you can do. And because things happen when you're an RVer, and if you are not someone who cannot go with the flow, then you might want to think about a different lifestyle choice.
Correct.
But if you can fix some of the minor things, I think you're going to be a lot happier in this. So
I agree.
What are the top questions that someone should ask on how an RV is built, like with the materials and the frame and the insulation and things like that?
Yes, I love that question, and that doesn't come up enough. I think when you were in my office for the show, we had cutouts of Airstream walls here, how they're built.
Yep.
To be able to see how something is made is really good. And I'm not just going to pump Airstream here, because it's all welded aluminum. It's all, you can have two guys pick up the whole shell of a trailer before anything goes in it, because it's that strong. But let's talk about stick and tin frame. Okay. Wood-sided trailers with aluminum over it, the industry calls it stick and tin. But I don't sell Gulfstream here, but Gulfstream is one of those manufacturers that uses hurricane clips to clip their sidewalls to their floors and to the joists and their ceiling and roof to help make them stable. Their slide rooms have a micro-lam header. 5 guys can do a chin-up on the slide room header. Some of these companies, it's just a piece of particle board, and if you did a chin-up on it, it would probably crack and snap. But they're, just because, Gulfstream is one of those middle of the line, and again, we don't sell them, but it's one of the middle of the line travel trailer makers that has a very well-built unit and is not expensive. It is the common man type of trailer. So are they using, how far away are the joists in the floor? How far away, and what is the lumber in the roof? Is it a 2x2, or is it a 2x3, or is it a 2x4? Are the sidewalls 2x2 or 2x3 or 2x4? This is going to tell you the strength and the stability of that coat. If it's a fiberglass sided coat, is it a laminated fiberglass side, or is what's called hung glass? Do they just spray the thing with glue and push the fiberglass up against it until it sticks and then route everything out? Or is that wall made on a jig and the fiberglass put down and then gone through a micro laminating machine to adhere that to it, and it be one solid piece? Those types of construction are 2 different and 3 different price points.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever your pinnacle is, find the best manufacturer in that sandbox. Okay. Just because it's a low or mid-price unit doesn't mean that it's not well built.
Mm-hmm.
There's manufacturers that, typically all manufacturers will have one unit that is the sacrificial lamb for the price. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when you go to a Kroger or even Walmart or Publix, and they have a 79-cent 2-liter bottle of pop that they paid $1.09 for. That's to get you in there. Most manufacturers have a trailer to get you in there, to get you into that lifestyle, and then hopefully 2 and 3 years later, you want a 2-foot or 4-foot bigger one, or you don't want a 7.5 or 8 wide, you want an 8.5 wide. So they're smart. They make these units to help you grow in their family of products, and price doesn't mean that it's great. Value determines if it's great or not.
Well, and I think along a materials thing too to look to that is easy for people to look at too is what are the cabinets made out of? Particle board or plywood? Particle board is, going to be a lot cheaper. But again, like you said, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's not a not well built camper. If that made sense. It's
Correct.
Look at the overall thing with it. So yeah.
That's correct. The upper cabinets will probably never have water intrusion.
Mm-hmm.
The floor cabinets, they might. But there are manufacturers that use real hardwoods, and there's manufacturers that want to cut weight and want to cut price. So they'll use a pressed board cabinet and make it look nice with thermofoil. And it looks really nice.
Mm-hmm.
But again, if that's your pinnacle, there's nothing to be ashamed of with that.
Right.
There's enough. You brought the cabinet up, and I have one other point to make with that, if we have time.
Yeah.
Look at the depth of the cabinets. Can it fit? Can this cabinet, the depth of that cabinet, fit a dinner plate?
Oh, good point. Yes.
No, I usually black, but there are some manufacturers that only make an 8 or 9 inch deep cabinet. Can you put the plate in there? There's some that you can't.
Yeah. Yeah. We run into that, my husband and I, we have a custom home company. We build custom homes, design and build them. And we actually had a home that happened. And we built the cabinets, but the woman bought very, very large dinner plates. And so where the plates should have gone in the kitchen, they had to go somewhere else. But yeah, so that is an issue.
Thank you so much for joining me today for the first part of our 3-part series on buying a new RV. And a big thank you to Mike Harlan from North Trail RV Center for sharing his expertise and helping us kick things off. In this episode, we covered some of the biggest mistakes RV buyers make and how to prepare before you even step onto a dealer lot, and why understanding your tow vehicle and your floor plan needs are so important. We'll be back next time with part 2, where we're going to dig into warranties, pricing, and dealer practices. So you're not going to want to miss that. Before we wrap up, don't forget to like and subscribe to the Girl Camper podcast and our YouTube channel. Please leave us a review and join Girl Camper so you can be part of one of our many events that are happening across the country. Until next time, I'm Lesa McDermott, and I will catch you by the campfire.